Over the years, one of the things that I'm told by people that don't really understand the stock market all that much is they think the markets are rigged. The little guy can't really succeed, and it's only the fat cats on Wall Street who really do succeed. Is that really true? If that is a question that you have, stay tuned. I have some answers for you. Before I start on this video, I want to remind you that I have a free workshop that is available to you by clicking on the link in the description box below this video. It's about 90 minutes long. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm just trying to offer you some insight and different ways that I think, and to help you possibly think in different ways yourself. The coverage includes a lot of different areas. Of course, I talk about the financial markets in general and a little bit about the stock market itself. I also cover sports. I'm a big fan of sports. Music. I've been playing music since I was very young. And I also talk about professional and personal relationships. The goal of this workshop is to help you to think in either new or different ways, as well as for you to get to know me and my style. So here's a problem. People think that there is some mystical secret to successful investing, and I cannot ever find out what it is. A lot of people really believe this. They think that you have to have some kind of special knowledge, which is true, but what you really need is a skill. There are people that are very successful investors that aren't any smarter than you, that don't know many more things than what you know. The idea is to use the information, sort out the good and useful information, and leave the rest off to the side. There is no secret when it comes to the markets. In one of my earlier videos, I say as close as we can come to finding the secret, you buy at the ask price and you sell at the bid price, and that's what makes prices go up and down. That's really all there is to it. As far as coming up with some magical way of analyzing things and then doing things at just the right time to get in and then just the right time to get out, people have been trying to figure that question out for a long time. And if there was an answer to that, they would have discovered it a long time ago. There is no super inside secret. Yes, there are things that go on in the markets that we can't control that other people can control. We have tools available to us that can see what are the big players doing. And then instead of going against them, we just jump on what they're already doing. Another problem is, I'm a small fish in the middle of the ocean. The rules are not fair for the little guy. A lot of people believe that, and that used to be true. One of the areas, whether you're a conservative or a liberal, no matter what political stance you have, you like the idea that there is control over the stock market. What they've tried to do over the years is make it level for everybody, a level playing field, so that a hedge fund or some kind of institutional investor that trades billions of dollars, they have the same opportunities to make money or lose money that you, with a small brokerage account, also have. So the solution is that the U.S. stock market has evolved and matured into the most level, free market playing field in existence. There are other stock markets in the world. There are stock markets throughout Europe. There's a really big stock market in China, which is gaining a lot of popularity, but a lot of people don't like to invest there because the rules aren't always fair for the little guy. The stock market, since it's matured and been around for hundreds of years now, the rules have been set up so that everybody is supposed to be on a level playing field. Now, there are some advantages and disadvantages to each side, and I'll talk about that here in a minute, that if you have a lot of money and power and influence, that can be a real advantage. But there are advantages that you, as an individual investor, also have. So the fat cats on Wall Street can do things I can't do. And that's true. They have access to information. They have access to people that you or I may not have access to. And that is an advantage in their favor. However, there are things that you can do that the fat cats on Wall Street can't do. Do you ever think about that? Look at a big pension fund or an institutional investor. Think of them like a big cargo ship. Those things don't steer and move very easily. They have to start slowing down and speeding up well before it's time to slow down or speed up. Or they have to turn, and that can take quite a long time for them to go left or to go right. If you've ever gone out sailing or you're in some kind of a smaller boat and you get in the wake of one of these ships, man, it can send you just flying. The same thing is true with the stock market. When these big players get into the market, we can see that. When they get out of the market, we can see that. And when we see a lot of big players doing the same things at the same time, we can see that. That leaves tracks. One of the statements that I heard years ago is, how do you know if an elephant has been through your living room? It leaves tracks. The same thing is true with some of these really big players on Wall Street. They can't go unnoticed. However, on the other side, you're a small individual investor. You can get in and get out quickly. You can do things that won't impact prices, that won't really be noticed by other market participants. And so you're like a little speedboat, where the big cargo ship, that can take a long time to turn and everybody sees it and it affects everything that it goes by, where you're just zipping back and forth, getting into the market, getting out of the market, setting things up, and nobody is really paying any attention to you. And that is an advantage. We can see what the big ships are doing and just do the same thing. We can be more nimble. We have more flexibility. If the big players want to get into a position, they don't do it all at one time. They do it over a period of time. The same thing is true when they want to get out. They don't start selling right away. They do it over a period of time. We can watch for that, and that can give us clues as to what we should do with our investments and trades. Another problem is there are people that know things that I don't know, and that's true, and that's always true. It's really amazing to me. If you were to ask me, where should I go on vacation? How should I raise my kids? What car should I buy? How should I treat my wife or my spouse? You would probably think that I was nuts and interfering in your life too much by wanting to tell you what to do in these other areas in your life. Why is it any different in the stock market? I've been dealing with the stock market since the mid-1990s. And when people find out about that, I'm constantly asked, got any good stock tips? It's like I have some kind of secret information that somebody else doesn't have. And so they want to ask me about that. And that's where the stock market is unique. We're willing to have other people tell us what to do. Where the American spirit is, we were born out of rebellion. We were born to think for ourselves and to take personal responsibility. Now, we've lost a lot of that in American society. Those who can still practice that end up doing very, very well. Sometimes you're right. Sometimes you're wrong. You take responsibility no matter what the outcome is. If you're right, you get to enjoy the benefits. If you're wrong, well, you just have to say, I was wrong. If you want to be successful in the stock market, you've got to get that back. And it sounds really easy, but this can be a very difficult skill to learn, and you might have some real mountains to overcome. So the solution is technology allows everyone to access the same information at the same time. I can be anywhere in the world and have the same information coming across my computer or on my phone that somebody who's right on Wall Street has. And that has done a lot to really level the playing field. We have access to the internet. We have access to blogs and articles and videos like this one that teach you information. We didn't have that 20, 25 years ago, at least on the scale that we do now. To go hand in hand with that a lot, if you watch very many of my videos, I tend to slam the financial channels. CNBC, Bloomberg, Fox Business, even Yahoo Finance. They can be interesting, and I do watch them from time to time. But if you use those sources to get your information and to make your decisions, you're way behind the curve. If you go into a big trading floor on Wall Street or any city for that matter, they might have one of the financial channels playing, but nobody's watching it. They're just using it for background noise. They don't watch these channels like a lot of individual investors do. They've already decided what they're going to do, and they get in or they get out, and then it's broadcast on the financial media, and by the time you hear about it, it's too late. One way that we can overcome that is we look at charts. We look at prices as they're happening. We're not waiting necessarily for some kind of news event or some trigger we hear about to get us in or get us out. We're going by what we see. We're trading the chart in front of us. That is a skill that a lot of people need to acquire, and it can take some time to do that. Another problem is I'm a small-time investor with limited knowledge, money, and time. When I tell people that I teach classes about the stock market, I get one of two answers. Sometimes both. The first one is, oh, I know the stock market is important, but I don't have any time. People always find time for the things that are important to them. So that's not an excuse. I also get a lot of students that they start out and they're all rah-rah and they're all excited about this opportunity. Well, then they realize, I have to watch some videos. I have to read some books. I need to make this part of my daily life. And since they're doing it on an emotional level, emotions change and emotions die. Kind of like the people that make a New Year's resolution to lose weight on every New Year's Day. You see the people that go work out every day. There's a real big crowd on January 1st or 2nd with their new suits and their new equipment and their color-coordinated outfits. About a week later, you see about half as many people, and by about 2 weeks down the road, you're back to the same crowd that came before New Year's. We're like that. We get all excited about something, and then life takes over. We get distracted, or we realize, this is actually going to require some work. It's not as much fun as I thought it would be. Where's the magical money that I'm supposed to be making? Oh, you mean I have to learn a skill to earn that money? I'm not as interested anymore. So the solution to this is information, even funding. There are people out there that have money and are willing to fund investors if they know what they're doing. And efficient education are not lacking. I teach a program. I think it's the best program out there. Some of you watching this, you may go through programs as well. And if you found a really good program, that's great. The idea is to get useful education that you can apply to the markets that help you to develop a skill in order to have consistent success. So what are some of the information sources that you can use to become successful as an individual investor? There are many very good sources available. This can include courses. I teach courses, and I think they're very good courses. At the same time, there are other courses that are good. Be a little leery, though. There are a lot of people that make a lot of claims that they have answers and that they have maturity and they have the experience and they may be willing to tell you what to do. That's not learning a skill. That's becoming a robot or a sheep or sheeple. Do you want to learn a skill that you can transfer over and enjoy developing yourself instead of just being told what to do? But there are some good courses out there. If you're interested, please contact me if you want to learn more about the courses that I teach. There are also very good websites. I have a couple of different websites where I offer information. One is spxinvesting.com and the other one is spxinvestingblog.com, where I post articles that are pretty much carbon copies of what I'm talking about in the videos, but I write in a different way than I speak, and so some people find my writing to be more beneficial to them, while others find the videos more beneficial to them. There are a lot of good websites out there. There are also a lot of bad websites out there. We just have to sift through all the different information and be able to pick out the good from the bad. And I'm constantly looking at different sources. There are educational services. I provide an educational service, but there are others available where they'll take you in. You either pay an upfront fee or some kind of a monthly membership fee, and then you become part of a club. So they not only teach you what to do, they'll also show you how to do it. And I use pretty much that same model, but I like to think that I do it in a different and better way. There are also some very good books. In the videos and on the websites that I manage, I talk about different books. I even have some book reviews that you can go through where I kind of have some takeaways. Some books that I read may be very favorable. Others may not be really worth your time. I just try to tell you what that book is about, and then you determine whether that is something that is interesting and useful to you. And there are funding programs. I don't want to go through this very much, but there are people out there and there are programs available. You can't put the cart before the horse. You have to be good first. You have to have a track record. Now that track record may be on paper. And in some of the other videos, I talk about paper trading and software that we can use so you're trading under real-time conditions, and that keeps a record. And then you can go to somebody and say, look, this is what I've done over the last year or 3 years or 5 years. Somebody looks at that and says, okay, this looks pretty realistic. A good winning percentage, you have a good rate of return, there's real consistent results here. Oh, here's a chunk of change. We'll split it 50-50. I'll put up the money, you do the work, and now we're in business together. There are those programs available to you. Some of the details may be different, but that's the basic idea of how they work. So thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video. Please click on the like or dislike button below. But what I really like are people that are willing to leave comments. What you liked, what you didn't like, that's fine. Also, consider subscribing to this channel to help it grow. And you can click on the little bell so that you're notified when new videos are posted. Please access the free workshop that I talk about at the beginning of this video. Just to tell you again, here is the SPX Investing blog, which you can reach at spxinvestingblog.com. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next video.